Hello, this is SmallBizDavid, and welcome to day 3 of Global Entrepreneurship Week 2015. Let me give you a little bit of history about it because it's it's probably the most important week that I have in my entire year because I'm so into the concept and what it's all about and what it's supposed to do. And I've actually been a distinguished partner of the week for 6 or 7 years now. It was started about 8 years ago by the Kauffman Foundation of Kansas City. And the Ewing Marion Kauffman Foundation is the #1 entrepreneurship foundation in the world. Several $billion of strength. And they do all kinds of great things, not just business startups, the nature of business, what's going on, but literally the world waits for some of the research that they do about what's going on in the economy and what their forecasts are for the economy. So it was a wonderful organization to start to follow. And the second year of Global Entrepreneurship Week, I was actually in Kansas City at the Kauffman Foundation, and that's when I started to get my designation as a distinguished partner. So once a year, it's actually the second week in November every year. Folks around the world, literally, it started in one country 8 years ago. This year, 2015, over 160 countries around the world will do over 45,000 events. Most of them, I would say probably 99+% of those events are face-to-face, live events where people go and just interact with one another. To my knowledge, I am one of a few, if maybe the only one, Ken, that does this whole thing online, because that's what I do. I'm an online business concept, and each year I try to figure out how I can do something better than I did the last year. I want to thank you for taking time out of what you've just explained to me is a very crazy business schedule to share, if you will, and I'm going to lead you into some of the things, but to share your experiences as a successful entrepreneur and what kinds of information can you share with not only small business owners today, but more importantly, I think, than those small business owners are the students of entrepreneurship who want to dedicate their lives to entrepreneurship to do the same things you and I have been doing for years. We want to get them started on the right foot because we want them to be successful. So that's also a very important target. So thank you, Ken, for taking time and sharing with us.
Well, thanks for having it. And we are live. I heard you say that these are, live meetings that go around the world, and you're live, and obviously you're going around the world. So, but I do have one thing I need to talk to you about, and that is, Dave, I checked the website, and today's topic is women entrepreneurs. So I just want to make sure.
On whose website?
The Global Entrepreneur Week.
Oh, they have their own agenda, and I have my agenda.
Well, good. I was just making sure that there wasn't any confusion here. We do understand. Okay, good.
Actually, that's a good point. And actually, every morning, the first thing I post every day is what's happening that day or what happened yesterday. So they have their agenda, and it's kind of interesting. Except for the first year when I went out to Kansas City, and I actually met Jerry Ortman, who is he's the boss. He's the CEO of Global Entrepreneurship Week. I've gone out there 2 other years, and there's been nobody literally in their offices. They've been out around the world doing their thing, and so it's a fascinating concept, and I'm proud. I'm very proud to be a part of it. So let's first of all talk a little bit about, if you will, Ken, because it's an interesting concept. And to my knowledge, you are the only one that really uses these words to brand what it is that you do. And that's the micro entrepreneur and you are a micro entrepreneur specialist. So how did you come up with the name? Why did you come up with the branding of micro entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, a long time ago, starting off in one of my businesses, at this time now I've been in 5 different industries and had multiple companies in those industries. But when I was struggling, and this was some 25, 30 years ago, I went to a small business meeting. And when I went to the small business meeting, I was thinking that I'd be sitting there with other small business owners. And in the United States, we classify small business owners as entrepreneurs that have 500 or less employees.
And if I might interrupt you for a moment, you're probably the first person in all the discussions I've ever had that have actually brought that up, and that is a Small Business Administration designation. And that number actually has changed over the years. And the reason that it has changed over the years is because the SBA then can make more folks, more businesses available for their guaranteed lending. Yeah. And that's why that number has changed. But you are absolutely right. It's 500 or less employees, the kind of small business.
So I'm sitting in a meeting, and the guy next to me has a problem, and his problem is working with his HR department and rolling out new issues with insurance and taxes and stuff. And as they're talking about his problem, I start to realize I'm like small potatoes in this meeting. And one of the things that I started to realize that happened to me was, as I was listening to these other entrepreneurs dealing with these big problems, and I mean, I went there to try to figure out how to get my secretary to come back from lunch on time. I mean, that was what I was struggling with.
That's an HR problem.
That is an HR problem. So I'm sitting there listening to these people talk, and I'm realizing that the more they talk, the less I want to ask my question. And, you know, for a long time, going to those types of meetings, I sat there completely quiet, never raised my hand, never asked for help, because it seemed so out of place. And what I was dealing with was such a small scale to what these guys were dealing with. I didn't know if these people were going to laugh at me, if they were going to think I was stupid, or if they're thinking I was in the wrong place. So that was my first introduction to small business and really looking for help. And that always kind of grated me the wrong way. And, you know, this is not just something that is new. This is something that's ongoing for small business owners. And I'm not talking about self-employed people. I'm talking about small business owners. And I pulled this up just recently before we this show, talking with somebody else about this whole problem. And in Small Business Trends, there was a recent study by the Federal Board of Governors, and they were looking into this question about what's the definition really of a small business. And here's what they came up with. They came up with that the medium U.S. small business is a small business that has about $80,000 in sales per year. The typical American small business generates about $20,000 in profit in their business. Now, here's the real kicker. According to the federal study, the typical new business has only 1 employee, and the average new business has 1.5 workers. So when we talk about small business, we really need to look at it and reframe it for those that are wanting to be entrepreneurs. And when I say entrepreneurs, what I'm saying is somebody that wants to start a business and hire employees to work in their business. Not somebody that's self-employed that does everything in their business, but somebody that wants to start a business and employ people in their business. Those people, those entrepreneurs, are the ones that get really overlooked in this whole scheme of the entrepreneurship. And, you know, talking about the SBA, I wanted to make sure that my data and all my data was correct. And in a recent study, again, they said that half of all new businesses survive only 5 years, which we know that. And then secondly, they go on and they're bringing out a brand new study, which will be released this year, 2015, but 51% of businesses will operate primarily out of somebody's home.
Okay, I'm going to throw another. It's wonderful that you are bringing this out today, and I'm sure you didn't listen yesterday. And I'm not saying this negatively about a discussion that I had in Global Entrepreneurship Week with my friend Stan Bush. Do you know Stan?
Oh yeah, I like Stan a lot.
Okay, Stan threw out a discussion, and we were going at it left and right yesterday. And his statement at the beginning of our discussion was that. And I asked the question, what do you want to, what bit of advice can you give somebody either in their existing business or starting a business for 2016? And his statement was, the question was, do you want to be a solopreneur or an entrepreneur? Yeah. And so he and I went at it for about 15 minutes yesterday, because I've always considered myself an entrepreneur, and that's only because of what I do, and it has nothing to do, it's not a grandiose kind of thing. It's just what I do and what I am. But I'm a solopreneur because I do it by myself. Yeah. And only one time in my career of over about 45 years now did I have a staff of people working. And that was very, very early in my career. I had 15 people on a staff, and I didn't bootstrap my way to 15. I got an investment so that I could support 15 people. And I hated the experience, Ken. I did not enjoy it at all, because I was taking too much time doing things that were not my core strengths. Right. And taking away from the growth and development of the company, because I had to worry about 15 people and their paycheck, and David, I can't make my car payment this week. Can you help me out, kind of thing. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to do this anymore. So in 1979, I made the commitment to myself that whatever I do for the rest of my life, I was going to do it on my own. And if I needed assistance in a task of the business, I'd call Ken up, I'd call Sam Bush up, I'd collaborate with somebody, maybe a solopreneur like myself, or maybe it'd be a company with a full staff of folks, but we would do it. We would get done what needed to get done. Sure. So my point yesterday was that I believe, and I started talking about this 5 years ago, that the new small business model was that of the solopreneur, that they were baby boomers who couldn't afford to retire or didn't want to retire. And they were folks that had years of experience in whatever it was that they did, either as an owner or as an employee. It didn't really matter. They had years of experiences. And so there was a new business model being created of solopreneurs. And then if we needed work or assistance, we'd work together. What's up? Are we saying kind of the same thing here?
Yeah. So I'm okay with where people want to hang their hat, so to speak. But here's the problem, and why I threw my hat in the ring in this whole idea of business development, business coaching, business consultant. And here's why. We don't have a startup problem in the United States. What we have is a scale-up problem. And most people don't realize this, that, it doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, free websites now, you could within 20 minutes build a website and say, listen, I have a business. But the problem is scale up. And what we find is, and the statistics prove out, that most businesses struggle once they get to about that 5 number, meaning about 5 employees. And the reason why is because of the fact that it takes a complete shift of mindset that will cause your business to scale. I mean, you started the conversation right by saying that, once your business gets to a certain level, what you have to shift your skill set to is no longer working in your business, but working on your business. And more importantly, working on the skill set of leadership. And here's why I say that. The truth is, in business, we don't manage people, we manage things and lead people. What we know about great companies that get past the micro, and scale up, is that those business owners have learned that one of the top skills they need to have if they're going to scale is leadership. I don't know if you know this, Dave, but 72% of the CEOs that were just featured on Inc.'s 500 said that within the last 12 months, they read a book on leadership. See, they understand it. They get it. They realize that the problem is not startup, it's scale up. How do you scale up?
Well, you know, the amazing thing about what you just said, I thought you were going to say, I thought you were going to take it, the comment in a different direction. Why did it take so long for 72% to say they just read a book on leadership? I mean, that I thought that's where you were going to go with that comment.
No, it's the exact opposite. They realize that
they needed it.
That for their business to really scale, it's going to be about leadership. And let's face it, you don't learn leadership in school. There's no books on leadership. You don't take a leadership class per se, especially if you're thinking about entrepreneurship. When you think about entrepreneurship, you think about, okay, maybe I need to learn the numbers, so I really need to drill down the financials, or maybe I really need to learn the marketing aspect of it, or sales, or the operational end of it. I mean, entrepreneurs that scale realize, just like you were saying, Dave, the problem I'm going to have in business is that I need to provide leadership so that these people that have got on my bus, and obviously I'm making a reference there to Jim Collins' Good to Great, if they're going to get on my bus and I haven't provided a clear vision of where I'm taking this company and where these people are going, and help them see their purpose within my organization, within a short period of time, they're going to be the ones complaining. They're the ones going to be switching seats. They're the ones that are going to be saying, hey, stop the bus, I want to get off. Here's another problem that most entrepreneurship doesn't realize, and that is this. The U.S. Labor Board of Statistics just came out and said that the average employee only stays for 4 years and 6 months. That type of turnover in your business is literally going to not only drive profits way down, but it's going to drive up your frustration. It's going to drive up your sense of value as a company, because we're in a different place now. We are, as entrepreneurs, not looking like what our parents used to do as entrepreneurship. It's a brand new model. And for entrepreneurs to succeed now and get past the micro part, the micro is just from 1 to 5 employees. To get past that, you're going to have to develop some skills, and you're going to have to do it fast. There's just no waiting around for this.
I want to share with you a definition I just read on skill for your comment. Skill, the learned capacity to carry out predetermined results with the minimum outlay of time, energy, or both. Is that a pretty good definition of skill?
What we
That's
say,
your definition of skill.
Yeah.
I wanted to segue into your major theme, I think.
Yeah.
And that's about skills, and we need to develop those skills.
And most people don't realize this. Most people have anywhere from 500 to 700 different skills. You have them. But here's the problem. The problem is you don't have enough time to learn the ones you need. You need to have someone come alongside and either teach you or show you the way, because in business, with a failure rate of half a business in 5 years, and the statistics go on, within 10 years, a third of those businesses are not going to even exist anymore, or 2/3 of them. Only a third are going to survive that. And it's those entrepreneurs that realize in a short period of time that I can't work in my business. I need to work on my business. And if I'm going to scale, I got to work on the skill sets I need to provide the vision, the purpose, and the means to take this business to the next level. It's not going to happen by chance or wishing that it will happen. It's going to happen by those that commit themselves to doing just that, learning the skills necessary to scale. And for me, when I looked out onto the landscape of saying, okay, how do I get my business from 5 to 105 or 1,005 or 100,005? That small little segment of entrepreneurs that never will join the ranks of the SBA's small businesses, they need help. They need someone to come in and say, okay, show it to me fast, give it to me the answers, and help me learn how to work on my business, and help me to learn how to develop that skill so that I can be a great leader and take this business into the great area that I always dreamed that it's possible for it to do.
Well, you're hurting me, Ken. You're stabbing a knife in me, and I say it sarcastically. My business model, I would not recommend to anybody because it doesn't need to be scalable. And you're going to throw darts at me when you hear this. I've had a different approach to business, and it's worked for me for over 40 years. So why shouldn't I continue that? My goal, my objectives were never to scale a business. So that was not a part of my thinking. My objectives were to do what I wanted to do, create a concept, create a project, either for myself or for a client, and then just do it and go out and do it and build it and then move on to the next. And I've been very blessed in my lifetime to be able to do that, for the last 45 years. Now, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody because it takes a different kind of discipline. It takes certainly a different mindset, but I'm still here today talking about it, Ken. So it's worked.
What you have, which most entrepreneurs don't have, and that is years of experience doing certain modalities in business, doing certain skill sets. Most people don't have that. When I was with one of I'm trying to think of what year it was. I was trying to figure out what company or year it was.
You've been involved in too much. You'll never be able to drill down to the year.
My biggest challenge was, okay, I've got to make payroll by Friday. Okay.
Oh,
so, knowing that was what I needed to do versus someone being, self-employed saying, okay, well, I'll just call my creditors or something like that and tell them that, listen, you have to wait for, 10 days, 30 days so I get paid. That's a different mindset than a business owner that, I got to make payroll this week, so I can't have a misstep. I can't have a stumbling block. I've got to get on this path and make sure that it has no dead ends, it's got no roadblocks and no detours, because for me to get to my destination, I've got to be able to do that. I've got to say, who can help me? See, here's the difference about entrepreneurship, and this is why I love entrepreneurs. An entrepreneur starts the question, not how. How do I do this? How do I market? The entrepreneur starts, and this is why I love entrepreneurs. They start with who. Who do I need to hire and bring on my team that has this skill set so I can scale faster? And that simple little question, how versus who, is for me why I love micro entrepreneurs, because when a micro entrepreneur starts that question from who do I need to get in on my team? Who do I need to hire to, even like for you to help me with this project? Who? That grows the economy. That grows a scalable business. How do I do this? How do I now build a website? How do I, do social media? Keeps you in an hourly wage, and it might put money in your pocket, which is great. I don't have a problem with that. But I want to see businesses scale and contribute to our economy, contribute to this idea of entrepreneurship that is the driving force and creates freedom and opportunity. That's what I'm excited about.
Where does the why fit into that formula?
Well, so it's a great question. So, here's what most people don't know about entrepreneurs, and that is that entrepreneurs don't start with the question, what's in it for me? An entrepreneur starts the question with, how can I give, or how can I provide either jobs, something to the economy, something that leaves a legacy, or that outlives me? That's when an entrepreneur starts. They're not thinking about just, okay, I need to get paid today. I want to buy a car. I want to buy a boat. I want to buy they're not thinking in those terms. And so for me, the entrepreneur has already answered the why question. reason why this needs to happen is because it's what's needed in our economy. It's what's needed in my marketplace. It's what's needed to help people find success. So, and I know you might go along the question of Daniel Pink about, getting to your why and stuff like that. If you've chosen to become an entrepreneur and you've chosen it for your own self-seeking purposes, then within a short period of time, and I really mean a short period of time, everybody around you will see that it's for your own self-seeking purposes, and you won't be able to keep people, you won't be able to scale. What you will do is drive a rut in your business where the only path that anybody can take is yourself, because it's so small and so narrow. The entrepreneur that is saying, listen, I want to do something great with my life and with this product, and I want to be able to do something that literally changes tens of thousands of people's lives, not just my life. I want to do something that changes people's lives.
Well, I guess, Ken, I've really, not I guess, I know that I've really been blessed in my lifetime because very, very, unfortunately, I was 23 years old when my father passed away, and he had 2 small businesses. And so my mother, who was still living, age 92, inherited 2 small businesses of which she knew nothing about. She was never involved in any aspect of it. And I was able to do one of the businesses because I had a little bit of experience in one, and she had a brother who was involved in the other business industry. So he was able to get involved. Well, the first and only business partner I've ever had, formal business partner I've ever had in my life, was my mother. And 90 days into our relationship, I said, Mom, our business relationship, we still have a mother-son relationship. I said, I do not want to be your business partner. I want to be your son. That's what I want to be. My grandfather, her father, overheard me say that to my mother. He looked right at me, not a second breath. He looked right at me and said, give your mother $10,000 and you do whatever you want to do. And I was 24 years old when that happened. And, so I didn't have time to think about it. My grandfather told me that's what I was going to do. And I just did it. And you know what? I haven't looked back since. It was a wonderful way for me to get started. And it just happened. So I've been very, very blessed. I didn't have time to think about it. I had bills I had to start paying.
Yeah. Well, and that is probably one of the worst reasons to ever go into business, and that is to, get a paycheck or pay some bills. Because,
paycheck? What's a paycheck?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's one of the sad things. I was talking with an entrepreneur just the other day, a startup, and the question came is, when do I pay myself, a salary or a commission? When should I be able to do that?
Tomorrow. Or today.
Well, the question was, when do you want to eat? No, but that kind of planning, that strategic planning, that laying out of that business model, for me, it came through years of experience. But I have to say that, and I'll be honest here, it wasn't years of experiencing, learning year after year these things. I was very fortunate early on in my entrepreneurial life to have someone tell me the 3 rules of success. That is, follow thought leaders, talk to your mentor, and hire a business coach. Those 3 rules of success will help you get the skills you need faster than anything you can do. Here's what entrepreneurship is struggling with, and that is you don't have enough time to learn everything. And here's why: your money will run out before your time. See, to become an entrepreneur, to learn everything about an entrepreneur, and Dave, I'm 51. I just turned 51 just this last week. And I realized, looking back, I'm just now getting started understanding how business works. And I've had years of mentors, coaches, and thought leaders to, really help me on this journey. But at the end of the day, you, the entrepreneur starting out, you don't have enough time because your money will run out. You only have so much money to get this thing going. You only have so much money to really start turning a profit, to really start seeing the ROI on your investment, or if you're using somebody else's money, the ROI on their investment. So you don't have the time to learn stuff. You've got to get people on your team. You've got to get those that can help you scale faster, succeed beyond your wildest dreams, and do it in a way that not only outbeats your competition, but outbeats the plans that you have for your business success.
I guess it's a perfect segue into something you just told me before we actually got started today, and I really would like you to share that, because it's exciting news, and maybe they're hearing it first in this HOA on entrepreneurship, but during Global Entrepreneurship Week. But you shared with me, and I don't know how much you want to share, but go ahead and whatever, about a new business model, new business concept that you're launching in January.
Well, the micro entrepreneur brand, it really has a three-legged stool. And what it does is it supports startups. It helps entrepreneurs speed up. And it also helps those that need to scale up. So like we said earlier in this this interview or this hangout, and that is that we don't have a startup problem, we have a scale up problem. So the startup, speed up, scale up, entrepreneurs need to do just that. They need the right tools to start. Before you build anything, and I don't know if you've ever built any houses or have done any construction projects, but you got to lay the foundation. And the reality is, for startups, the model that was modeled to you working in somebody else's business is not a model you want to build your foundation on. Here's why. The business that you learned business from, meaning that most of us were an employee in somebody else's business, and we looked around and said, hey, I can do this, and go out and start your own business. The reason why that model won't work for you is because you were hired to perform a task. You had one skill set. Here's what most entrepreneurs don't know, and that is there's 5 hats you're going to put on immediately when you put out that door that you are open for business. Here's the 5 hats. Someone has to be a CEO. We call them the owner. We call them the visionary. We call them the founder. We call them the president. Whatever title you want to give yourself. And if that's going to be you, you're going to have to own that. And you're going to have the roles and responsibilities that the owner, the president, the CEO has in this business. Well, here's the other 4 that most people don't know, that you are now going to have to wear that hat until you get somebody else. You're going to have someone in charge of operations. And operations is huge. I could list for next hour all the things that fall under an operation. Somebody in charge, like a operations manager, to handle everything that's happening in your business. And then you're going to have somebody to put on the hat of marketing. You've got to be able to speed up faster, and you're going to do that through marketing. What we like to say is, on your dashboard on your car, you have 2 big gauges. You have your RPMs and your miles per hour. Your marketing is your RPM, and you got to hit that throttle fast. And driving any car, you know that by the time the miles per hour catch up, sometimes you got a red line, right, to get where you're wanting to go. So you're going to have the marketing, and then you have to have sales. No business is ever done without a sale. I know people say, I hate doing sales. Well, guess what? If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to put on the hat of the sales manager. So you got a president, you've got the operations, you got the marketing, sales, and then finally, this is the one that people forget and people fail at, and this is the reason why we have such a huge failure rate. A financial manager, someone to do all the numbers. You got to have somebody that understands finances. If you don't know what a P&L is, or your accounts receivable, or AR, or AP, or I can go on with all the accounting terms, and you don't understand that, how that plays into the success of your business, and you're not good with your numbers. And the reason why I say that is because I had to hire it, because I didn't understand the terms. I didn't understand what they meant and how they applied to my business and how they applied to the future of my business. So I ended up hiring that very quickly. But the reality is, if you don't have that skill set and you put on that hat, you're going to have to be the one that sits in that role of responsibility. So you've got the president owner, you've got the operations, you got the marketing, you got the sales, and you got the financial. You're going to be wearing all 5 of those hats in your business. And here's what happens in business each and every day. You're putting hats on and off as the day goes by, and sometimes you're wearing 2 and 3, and sometimes you can't even figure out where your head is because of the fact that your hats are just pulling you down. That is what has to happen in entrepreneurship if you want to scale. Well, because they don't teach you that, and because entrepreneurship doesn't teach you how to set yourself up for success, what we've been working on, and what I shared with you, Dave, prior to this hangout, is that for the last 3 weeks, I've shot over 25 videos, and we're going to be shooting another today. I'm actually in the studio right now. This is where we're broadcasting from. And I'm going to be shooting another 5 to 10 videos, whatever I can get through, that are going to teach you the 5 things you need to know about entrepreneurship. And here's what you need to know, and what people don't realize. You need to learn how to get set up for success. And that means learn how to work like an entrepreneur. You know, when I said that you were in that company and you were performing a task, well, all the other tasks that were being done, all the other roles and responsibilities, you've got to learn how to set up your day, set up your life, set up your business, and more importantly, set up the amount of time and energy you have to figure out how to work as an entrepreneur. They don't teach it in school. I can promise you this. You're not going to learn how to work as an entrepreneur. So we're launching these program, and we'll be doing it the first of the year, that is going to first teach you how to set yourself up for success. And then once you do, you're going to have to then learn how to see success. And what I mean see success is this. Most businesses, and 95% of them, I can guarantee you this, don't have a vision of where they're going. See, sight is what you see, vision is what you'll be, and you've got to not only set yourself up, now you've got to set the course. You got to set the vision for where your business is going to go, so that you can let people know that want to join your team, this is where our business is, this is where we're going, this is why we're doing it, this is what's going to end up happening. Then once you see that, you got to secure success. What does that mean? It means you need to find buyers now that are searching for you. This whole idea of selling, what it really means and what sales mean. You know, Peter Drucker says the purpose of a business is to create a customer. And what we know creates a customer is a sale. And here's the 3 things that most people don't realize that happen in sale. You got to market, you got to sell, and you got to close. Marketing isn't selling, selling isn't closing, but you need all 3 to make a sale. Marketing, selling, closing. So you got to secure success. And then once you do that, you got to sustain it. This is what we were talking about earlier. You got to sustain success. What does that mean? It means that you need to work on your leadership skills and learn how to become an entrepreneur that scales beyond the 5. And then finally, the last module in this program will be selling success. See, in your business, if you're not creating a business that is more successful without you, then you don't own a business, the business owns you. What it means is that systems run your business, people run your systems, and if you haven't created a system in your business that's so turnkey, meaning this, someone walks into your business and says, I'm going to write you a check and buy it, and more importantly, you hand over the keys to your business and they can run your business successfully, then you've created a business that you can sell, even if you never want to sell it. You know, I had dinner with a friend who had his Harvard business degree, and I asked him this question, Dave. I said, tell me the one thing that you got out of your Harvard business degree. And he leaned forward and he said this.
Big
build
debt.
it to sell it. No, he said, build it to sell it. He goes, plain and simple, even if you never sell it, build it to sell it. That means you systemize everything so succinctly. You systemized everything so successfully that the business actually works without you. So building entrepreneurship on those 5 things, understanding that to join the 5% of entrepreneurs that make over $1 million, they've set themselves up for success. They see success, they're sustaining success, they're selling success, and more importantly, they understand the roles and the responsibilities in business, and they're building a business that is successful out there, a business that outlives them, a business that's driving this economy, that's helping change this world for something better. That to me is what entrepreneurship, and why these programs that are happening and getting people to think about entrepreneurship in a right way, you doing these kind of things, are so important. We need to have these conversations. It's not just, hey, I'm going to build a website and go into business. Well, most people don't realize this, that 90% of those people that said that are using their savings, their 401, or borrowing money from family members. And half of those are going to be lost. That's not helping the economy, Dave.
There's another concept that you didn't touch on, and I don't want to get into it today. I want to have a private discussion with you because it fits into this formula here, and it's kind of interesting. All of your words in your modules are S words.
Yeah.
They begin with an S. When you talk about the concept of entrepreneurship and business, there's a lot of P words that people use. It was kind of, as I listened to you introduce your 5 modules, they all were S words. So.
Yeah. It's actually just how my brain works. I'm, one of those people that have to have something very simple for me to understand.
Another S word.
Yeah. So how to keep it simple, right? KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So listen, for me, every day setting myself up for success is not about a hope or a wish. It's about having a strategic plan. It's what we call plan the work, work the plan. And if you want to win in life and you want to win in business, you've got to be doing these 3 things. And you got to, first, just like Win says, if you want to win, you got to write it down. First thing you got to do every day is write your goals. Did you know that the top 3% of wage earners write out their goals daily? So you got to write it down. So if you really want to win this thing called entrepreneurship in life, you got to write it down. Secondly, you got to inspire other people. Remember that idea I was talking about, working on your leadership skills? You've got to inspire people. And, if you think motivation is going to work, I can promise you this. In a short period of time, I don't care how much you raise someone's paycheck, they're going to get tired of you, the carrot or the stick, and they're going to find something that is truly significant work that inspires them. So you got to be inspiring people. You got to write down, inspire, and then the third one, if you want to really win in life and entrepreneurship, it's the N, which is never quit. More entrepreneurs, Dave, quit before they reach the top because they can't see the top. They didn't realize how close they were. And what we like to say is, and we end every micro entrepreneur show, the micro minute show, with this, and that is, don't ever, 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 ever give up, because you're a lot closer to success than you ever dreamed possible. So if you want to win in life and business, write it down, inspire others, never quit. And that process of setting yourself up to be an entrepreneur, setting yourself for success, is what's going to help you scale in business.
And it's funny that you say that, because I was just thinking about this yesterday or today, that when we build a plan, if we start with what the end goal and objective is and work backwards to develop upon how we're going to get there, you can't quit until you get there, because you know what the end is.
Yep. And actually, that's a term, and that's one of the principles that we teach. It's called retrograde analysis. And most people don't realize that the chess world, to be a grandmaster, most people don't realize this, but Dave, after 4 moves on a chessboard, if we were to sit down and play a game of chess, after 4 moves, me moving twice, you moving twice, there are over 4 billion, that's with the B, combinations of different moves. So how are you going to become a grandmaster trying to learn all those things? It's like, what I've had to do with entrepreneurship, trying to learn all things. Well, the reality is that there are 4 ways that grandmasters become grandmasters. One's called chunking, the other one's called stepping stone, the other one's called pattern recognition, and the last one is called retrograde analysis. And here's the greatest thing in the world, because it works for business. It works for everybody in business. A grandmaster will take everything off the board except for a king and a pawn. The reason why is there's only a couple series of moves before there's a checkmate. And he works backwards. He actually starts with checkmate, where he wants to go, what he wants to finish with, how he wants to finish the game. We call life and business retrograde analysis. And then he works backwards. That is the fastest way to become a grandmaster. It's also one of the fastest way to scale a business. And we teach that, retrograde analysis.
And all those things together determine success. Another S word. Why? I think I know why they're S words, Ken, because the S words kind of look like dollar signs.
There, yeah, at the end of the day, you want to get paid for this, right? You know what they say, if you're not making any money, it's a hobby. So, if you want to stay in business, it's not about, sales of growth. It's about profit. It's sales plus profit equals growth. And you got to know the difference between the two.
And when you talk about hobby versus a business, now you're bringing the IRS into the formula, because they definitely will differentiate between the two. Ken, thank you for your time today. Matt, you and I could go on forever talking about it, but I want to stay in touch with you about your program that you're launching in January, because as I mentioned to you, I'm going to be launching the SmallBizDavid Academy of Entrepreneurs. I think I'm going to call it SmallBizDavid Academy of, in parentheses, Solo, and then Entrepreneurship. I think my friend Stan Bush kind of led me down that path yesterday, but it was great as always. Today is the first time that you and I have ever had a live stream discussion, and we've had probably four or five of them, that you haven't worn a tie.
Well, like I said, I'm in the studio shooting, so actually I have my wardrobe sitting right there.
I bet you do. You have different costumes for your different different cells. Okay, thank you so much, and good luck, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. For folks who are visiting us for the first time, come back again. If you didn't hear something today that you want to hear, please let me know. If you heard something that you want to discuss, please let me know. If you have a business challenge that you have and you're struggling with it, particularly as you are looking what worked for you in 2015 and what you need to do to move your business forward for 2016. If you've got that a challenge and you don't quite have the roadmap that you need, let me know. And if I can't give you a good answer, I think my friend Ken can give you a good answer on that. So if I can't give you a good answer, believe me, I've got a database of folks and a community of folks that absolutely do have the answers. My name is SmallBizDavid, and we'll see you again the next time, which may very well be the best time. And we